Good afternoon, Patient Knights. I hope you all had an amazing weekend and had lots of fun during the Latin Caribbean Regional Day. I know I sure did. Now, before I start off the session, I would like to invite Malinga to the stage for the land acknowledgement.
As we gather here today to talk about the theme that concerns us as children and as the young adults, we should always remember those people who are here before us and who will come here along after us. And we should just acknowledge that the land area we're gathering today to talk about this theme belongs to Chiano, Bitter Bay First Nations, and must remember them in everything we do today and everything we're planning to do for our future. Thank you.
So today with us, we have Dulce Castillo from Venezuela. She is in international studies by profession and has a master's degree in children's rights and public policies. Out of her personal life, she enjoys taking walks on the beach with her dog. She is also the coordinator of the InterAmerican program on children participation under the organization of the Inter-American Children's Institute and Adolescents, whose primary aim is to help in the promotion and development of child rights in their 35 member states. Today, she is with us to talk and share about child and human rights internationally with a focus on the Inter-American system. She will be answering questions about what are human rights, the international system of human rights, the Inter-American system of human rights, and we'll also be talking on the Convention of the Rights of Children. We also have Jeremiah, my roommate. He's here because he's a child and adolescent correspondent for the Inter-American Children's Institute. He also has previously worked with the Ministry of Human Services and the Social Security of Guyana. Before I hand over the stage to our panelists, I would like to remind everyone that if you do not understand what something means or you need a translation, please use the hand gesture for the translation pause. I'm sure everyone knows what the gesture is by now. And after the speakers are done with their discussion, there will be a time for question and answers. Thank you.
Hi, Dulce. I think we could start now. Right?
Hi, how are you? I'm going to share a presentation, and did you hear me? Yes, great. First of all, thank you for the invitation. My name is Dulce. I'm from Venezuela, and I work at the Inter-American Children Institute. That is an organization inside of the Organization of American States. So I want to try to talk with you about the international and the Inter-American human rights system. But the most important thing that I want to share is about children rights and child participation. And for that reason, I want to share my knowledge, but I prefer to hear to Jeremiah to share his experience at the Korea network, the Child Correspondent Network. So I will share my screen if you let me. I need okay. First of all, I want to talk about the what are the human rights. Human rights are rights. Okay, are the rights that we have simply because we exist as human beings. They are universal, inherent, inalienable, and interdependent. Sorry for my pronunciation. And in all these years, we are talking about the different fights that we have for the recognition of different governments and the states to promote public policies to improve the situation of the people. But the first things that I want to, that maybe you can reflect and try to think about it, is that children's rights are human rights, okay? No matters the age, the nationality, the gender, the sex, or the different ethics, origins, color, religions, language, human rights belong to everyone. So it's really important that maybe you have the experience to learn at your school about the UN, the United Nations, and the different conventions or international human rights law that put the focus on different group of people. For example, the women rights, or the right for people that have living in situations like migrations or with disabilities. In this dialogue, I want to express how important is that the Convention on the Rights of the Child is a really young international law. That convention will be celebrating his or her or their birthday of 34 years old. So it's really young for everyone. And in that convention, you can learn about the different rights that children's, that is any person under the age of 18 years old has, and the specific obligation that every state that ratified this convention must guarantee to that population. At this moment, the only country that doesn't ratify the Convention on the Rights of the Child is the US. So the Committee on the Rights of the Child is a committee that are part of the United Nations, specific in the different body that complain the human rights system, and his job is to try to guarantee and to put in a right way the obligation that every state has for children and adolescents. So you can learn about the international thinking in this body that is in that 18 experts of different countries are part of this committee, and in 3 times at the year try to follow up the different public policies and the different laws or action that every government are doing for promoting children's rights. But if we think at the InterAmerican human rights system, the Organization of American States, the organization that I part and also Jeremiah joined and share his experience as an excellent child correspondent. This organization is one of the most old organizations that promote democracy, security, and human rights. In regional law, they create the InterAmerican Commission of Human Rights. That is a commission that integrates different specialists, consultants, and people that learn and know so much about human rights and work in different states to try to follow up the different violation of human rights that are happening right now in our continent. In that commission, you can, if you check the website, you can find that they had a specific body thinking in child rights. And also we had the most mandatory court of human rights that we had in our continent, that is the Inter-American Court of Human Rights, where different judges and lawyers of our continent try to follow up this violation that are happening right now with women, different genders, and children. One thing that I want to share that is that at the Inter-American human rights system, children has a short participation because only adults work in that space, and the only way that you can participate is trying to connect with different intergenerational dialogue or having the opportunity to be part of the different discussions. But the way and the best way to children has the opportunity to connect with these people, to connect with this organization, is a difficult for everyone, and we are looking forward to improve this situation because we think that the children has the right to be heard, and we as adults have to learn what is your reality. For that reason, it's really important that you as youth students can learn more about human rights, children rights if you're interested, but try to learn more about it because it's an opportunity to try to fight improving the human rights of every person. So try to put this idea in a specific example. The Inter-American Children Institute is the institute where I work. We work with 35 states at the Americas and the Caribbean, trying to connect their public policy with the children's rights. For example, with Canada, we work with the Division of Childhood and Adolescents of the Public Health Agency of Canada, and with different institutions in every state of the Americas and the Caribbean. For example, I base on Uruguay. We work with the institute, with the National Institute of Children's of Uruguay, or in Brazil with the Ministry of Human Rights and Women's Rights, and in the same way in different countries in the Americas. About the Convention of the Right of the Child, it was a long process to create this convention because it took more like 10 years, and this convention promote and express the different rights that children has, and also has 4 important principles. The first one is the non-discrimination. The second one is the best interest of the child. That means that in every decision of every adult, based on the best interest of children, has to consider what is the best, what is the most important decision that you can have in the name of a child. For example, your teacher, every decision that they made, they have to think in the best for you. Also, the right to live, and my best, the participation. The child participation, adolescent participation is very important because we can continue talking about you without you. So it's important that the children and the adolescent has the opportunity to express their point of view about the different things that you think, that you can try to join different group of people, that you can search any information that you prefer to try to build and create your own opinions. And that's one of the best, I think, the best principle of the Convention of the Rights of the Child. So I know maybe you can search this information. This is a friendly convention of the rights of the child. You can try to check all the rights that are expressed at this convention. I think the only difference between other convention is that the Convention of the Right of the Child express the right to play and to have free time to be happy. That wasn't expressed in other conventions. And I think that's all. So I really want that take the time to give the floor to Jeremiah to express his experience at the Child Correspondent Network. That is a network that is part of the InterAmerican Children Institute, created since I think 5 years ago, and where children and adolescents of the Americas and the Caribbean can write articles about the situation of human rights and children's rights in their country, and has the opportunity also to participate in inter-American and international activities, and also to try to share with other children and adolescents their reality. I will share this by the chat if you want to check. And Jeremiah, that is all yours. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Salutations. I'm just here to talk about my experience with the Korean network. I'll say that it's one that's definitely special, close to my heart, because I got more and more involved with children's rights during COVID. I was sitting one day on online school as usual, and I realized that there are many others like me who don't have this access to education, who don't have this access to learn as much as I was getting. This is what pushed me to get further involved with my community, and through the Ministry of Human Services and Social Security back in Guyana, I got involved with the Korean network. In this network, I got to participate in various meetings, online, of course, with different stakeholders around the world, and especially around the Americas, on children's rights. Firstly, I got to attend a high-level meeting that involved the rights of the children within the Americas. And within this meeting, we discussed various ways in which we can improve the communication between the member states and the InterAmerican Children's Institute. What we found was that even though we were asking for follow-ups during the 3 meetings a year that Dulce mentioned, some of these member states didn't have the capacity to follow up, or were just lacking in their following up. So one of the things we discussed there, of course, was how to ensure that everyone can follow up and do it in a reputable fashion. Next, I attended the OPIC, the Optional Protocol on Individual Communication. We attended a workshop on that, and we spoke about the various ways we could improve the OPIC. One thing I would say is that this was my favorite workshop so far, because they really took into consideration mine and my other colleagues' input into the matter. We found that the OPIC was a good protocol overall, but there were some little things that they didn't think of. And when we pushed the ideas forward, they took them into consideration. And now work is being done to improve the OPIC. I'll say that getting involved in child's rights is something every child should do at some level or the other. Even if it's just posting something on your Instagram and expressing your opinions on the matter, or being at my level and attending these various meetings and workshops around the Caribbean and around the world. Just get involved on some level and ensure that you're doing something to ensure the rights of, firstly, yourself and those around you. Because even though you may have it rather good in the West, you may be experiencing the full variety of your rights. There might be some child out there who doesn't have a voice of their own, who might want to speak, who might want you to speak on their behalf, who might want you to speak out when there's a violation of these rights. Thank you.
So now we'll have questions from the audience.
Oh, okay. Hi, I'm Arlia. I'm from Singapore. I was just wondering, like, in terms of the network, what kind of work do you do within, like the countries, that you talk, like within like the Americas and the Caribbean? Is it like advocacy work for like governments to implement these policies, or is it more like getting a better understanding of the situation? Yeah.
Hi, thank you. Well, we work with the try to design and to follow up on the implementation of public policies. My colleagues, for example, work at the violence against children, try to improve the situation of the violence in every state of the America. For example, this year we made a consultation about it, and the most repeated, for example, answer is that the family, the different home are the most dangerous space for children because they live violence in their own family, and the next one is at the school. So we try to design with the states, with the different governments, different laws or programs or activities to try to improve that situation. Other um, other policy, for example, is about sexual exploitation. The another one is the different situation of migrants, children, for example, what is happening at Central America and at the US, what is happening with the people of Venezuela, that is Colombia and the other states of South America. So we try to think in what is the best way to implement public policies or security for the people that are living a different situation that involve the only way to travel to other countries to have a better life. And other thing that we work and is really important for you is that we have to think the children's rights not only in one institution. For example, is we have to try to improve all the institution and the programs that work for the people. For example, we can think on children's rights if we do not work with the institution that promote the education, that promote the mental health, that promote the different institution that create laws, or try to think to improve children's rights without the families or without the community, with the school, etc. So in our institution, we work with the states, with the different institutions and the governments, but the best part of our work is work with children and adolescents, as Jeremiah, for example.
this okay? Hi, thank you very much for speaking to us on this important topic. I'm just wondering if you could give us an example of court cases that have been heard at the Inter-American Court, and to what extent that may influence policy at a national level.
At the international level, the last year, the Committee on the Rights of the Child has the opportunity to make a consultation about the climate change. So different children has the opportunity to speak about their reality at South America and the different situation that we are living with the climate change. So that opinions that children from Argentina, Chile, Costa Rica, I am thinking about only South America, but that happen in different regions of the world. So that children from Chile, Argentina, Colombia, Mexico, they did recommendation to the Committee on the Rights of the Child. So the committee at the United Nations creates some recommendation taking into consideration the opinion of children. So that's recommendation will help to the state to create different laws or regulation or programs or public policy with the opinion, with the point of view of children. Other example is that also the Committee on the Rights of the Child made a general observation general comment, that is the name. So in that general comment, they express the different issues about a specific article of the Convention of the Right of the Child, or a specific problematic or issue that affect children's rights. For example, the digital environment. So different children express their point of view of why it's so important to have the digital environment. What is important to the use of the social media, why they use Instagram, Facebook. Well, Facebook is for all people, but the different social media to improve their child participation and to improve their activities. So that general comment, we hope that we will use to create laws and public policies that will improve the protection in that space, but also how the states, the companies, and the community can improve the children's rights and the human rights in a general way. At the national level, different lawyers, or for example, in a specific case about divorce, or in a specific case about violence against children, the judge of that national court give a friendly interpretation of the regulation of that case in a way that every child can understand what will be the last decision, thinking in their best interest. And I think that will be an excellent practice, because, as you know, the regulations and the interpretation of different law are not easy to understand if you are not a lawyer, or if you have any knowledge about international, national laws. So maybe that will be an example about how we can make more easy to children and adolescents to understand the different work that we do in our school, in our university, in our community, or, for example, in my case, in an InterAmerican Children Institute. Thank you.
So I understand that your organization would be seeking to get consistent standards for human rights of the child throughout America, throughout the Americas. So how does that work in practice when the biggest player doesn't acknowledge the UN Convention for human rights, for the rights of the child? So you're talking about the nation states. Will the US government listen to any recommendations that come out of your organization? Do they see it as valid?
Yes, I don't know if you was talking about the U.S. that doesn't ratify the Convention of the Rights of the Child. Is that?
Yes. If the US is definitely the biggest player in the Americas, and if they don't
Yeah.
recognize the convention,
Hmm.
how do you make change within the
Um.
States?
Yes. Yes. It's not easy because the interpretation is that the U.S. has different federal law in different states where they consider is enough to improve children's rights. The Inter-American Children Institute has a body that is at the directive council, where it's in a space where the different institutions of every state of the America participate and has the opportunity to speak about and to share their experience in public policies. And the US is part of that directing council and also participate. It's difficult because I think that is a personal opinion that doesn't represent my institution. It's difficult because the US is one of the most important states in terms of economical issues at the Organization of American States, because it's an important, I don't know how to say that, but they put a lot of money at the Organization of American States to improve democracy, public policy, security, etc. But in the case of the Inter-American Children Institute, we had a short, I don't know how to say this in English. We don't have a lot of researchers, or we don't have a lot of money to work out. So it is a really difficult for us. But in terms of our work, we work for everyone. So if the US want to participate, they will have the opportunity, and we have the responsibility to work and to try to improve the children's rights in every state of America with the human team that we have. So that's it.
Thank you. This is for Jeremiah, actually, and thank you for your talk. Jeremiah, I'm just wondering, because I know that in Guyana, the human rights report, the latest, still reflects lots of violations of human rights, not only for children, but also towards the rest of the population, which is not surprising. That happens in all Latin America as well. I wonder, in your opinion, what do you think are the main challenges that Guyana is facing to implement what you actually are learning and sharing here with us?
It's an interesting question, and I have thought about it before. In fact, in one of my first articles that I was writing for the Korean Network, I was about to write on that very topic. And I think the main thing stopping us as a nation from improving our situation in terms of child's rights is A, education, and B, the culture surrounding children and humans in general. In that when a violation of human rights or child's rights occurs, it's usually social practice to keep it quiet until it gets extremely bad for the victim in question. So that's one of the things I personally think we could change, is firstly educating everyone about their rights and how they could go about getting justice for themselves and other people. And secondly, by changing our opinions as a society on how we handle these cases and what we do to improve our situation.
Unfortunately, due to time restraints, we'll only be accepting one last question. Are there no more questions? Okay. So in that case, I would like, on behalf of the Global Affairs cast, I would like to thank all of you for joining us today and for making time out of your busy schedules to come here. A special thank you to our guest speaker, Dulce and Jeremiah, for making time to come and talk to us about this very important topic. We're grateful to the tech team for helping us put this session together. And last but not least, we would like to thank you, the audience, for being here and for your engagement in this important topic. Together, lastly, I would like to say that together we can make a difference in the rights and well-being of children. Thank you and have a great week ahead.